A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant diplomatic move, U.S. President Donald Trump is set to host leaders from 5 West African nations at the White House this Wednesday, as part of a summit aimed at strengthening trade relations and countering the growing influence of Russia and China in the region. The leaders from Senegal, Liberia, Guinea-Bissau, Mauritania, and Gabon are expected to engage in discussions focusing on commercial opportunities and security challenges that have been affecting their countries. This summit comes at a critical time as the Trump administration seeks to recalibrate its foreign policy towards Africa, moving away from traditional aid models to trade-based partnerships. The White House has been vocal about its intentions to foster economic ties with the mineral-rich West African region, particularly in light of a recent 10% global import tariff announced by Trump, which has raised concerns among countries that rely heavily on U.S. trade. The summit, scheduled to take place over a working lunch in the state dining room, is viewed as a pivotal moment for U.S.-Africa relations. According to Landry Signa, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution, the success of this initiative will depend on the U.S.'s ability to outcompete China and Russia in terms of investment and long-term commitment to the region. The invited nations are known for their abundant natural resources, including manganese, iron ore, gold, diamonds, lithium, and cobalt, which are essential for various industries, including technology and construction. However, the discussions will not be without challenges, as the Trump administration has recently announced cuts to foreign aid, shuttering the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, and signaling a shift away from a charity-based model. This has raised alarms among experts who predict that these changes could lead to dire consequences for millions in the region. The potential aid cuts are expected to disproportionately affect West Africa, with studies indicating that they could result in more than 14 million additional deaths globally by 2030. The leaders attending the summit are keen to pivot from being solely aid recipients to establishing mutually beneficial trade relationships. Liberia's President Joseph Boakai has expressed a strong interest in focusing on trade and investment opportunities. Meanwhile, Gabon's President Brice Oligui Nguema highlighted the need for substantial investments in energy to help process the country's raw mineral resources locally, emphasizing that while these countries are rich in resources, they require international partners to help develop them. The summit also comes at a time when security concerns are paramount, particularly in the Sahel region, where several countries are grappling with terrorist threats and political instability. The U.S. has a vested interest in ensuring stability in these nations, as they are key transit points for migration and drug trafficking, issues that have been on the rise in recent years. The meeting is expected to address these security challenges, with international drug trafficking and immigration concerns at the forefront of discussions. As the leaders gather in Washington, they will also be looking to explore investment opportunities in various sectors, including tourism, infrastructure, and economic development. Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has already suggested potential investment in tourism, highlighting the appeal of a golf course that would be just a 6-hour flight from New York City. The U.S. International Development Finance Corporation has announced plans to provide funding for the Banio Potash mine in Gabon, which aims to reduce the country's dependence on imports and stimulate local economic growth. As the summit unfolds, it represents the latest effort by the U.S. to counter perceptions of neglect towards Africa, especially as China continues to make significant economic inroads in the region. The outcomes of this meeting could set the tone for future U.S.-Africa relations, especially as Trump is expected to announce a broader summit with African leaders later this year, possibly coinciding with the United Nations General Assembly in September. However, there are concerns regarding the potential implications of U.S. tariff proposals and visa restrictions that could hinder deeper trade ties with African nations. The top U.S. diplomat for Africa has dismissed allegations of unfair trade practices, asserting that the U.S. is committed to fostering partnerships with nations that demonstrate the ability and willingness to improve their economic situations. As the world watches, the discussions at the White House will be crucial in determining the future of U.S. engagement with Africa and the potential for economic collaboration in a rapidly changing global landscape. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.